What is going on, guys? Bengal again here, coming back at you with another video, doing a mock draft as the Super Bowl is in the rearview mirror. It is officially NFL draft season. I heard on Twitter, oh, it's officially baseball season. Listen. I know the popular meme right around now is like, baseball is not a real sport. And then I see the people like replying, actually it's recognized by the Olympics. Like, dude, shut up. You're playing into it. Like, just relax. It's funny. I played baseball year-round growing up. That was like my actual sport that I was really good at. And, yeah, if you can't take a little joke, you're in the wrong place, especially on this channel. But is it officially NFL draft season? It's NFL off-season. We've been doing mock drafts and a lot of draft content on the channel, you know, over the past few months. So this is nothing new. If you're new here, you want to get fully invested in draft season, make sure you're subscribed. Scroll down, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. But let's get into it. Super Bowl, it was interesting, right? I don't think anyone really particularly enjoyed that game unless you were a Buccaneers or Tom Brady fan. The game just wasn't really entertaining. As I said in my video, Eric Fisher being out could be massive, could be a nightmare situation for the Chiefs, and it was. I thought the Chiefs were going to win. It wasn't even close. That aged well. I said exactly what was going to happen in that scenario, that there was no blocking and there was not. Listen, we're not talking about that. The reason, though, that we're coming back doing a mock draft is because the draft order for the top 32 teams is officially set. There will be trades that end up happening that change the order, but for right now, picks 31 and 32 are solidified. This is the draft order, and for a lot of the time, we've been doing the Chiefs at pick 32, and that is no longer the case. And I will also say, I'm probably going to mix up this mock draft a little bit more than usual because, you know, the top 29 picks, or 28 picks have been the same over the past few weeks. So even though it's changed, like yesterday, picks 31 and 32, the rest hasn't really changed other than Stafford being traded and Goff being traded. So we are going to mix things up just a little bit to make things fresh. So if it's a mock draft that you're not exactly a huge fan of, well, we're mixing it up. Draft is always extremely unpredictable in certain areas. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit today. And, of course, can't wait to do my best to ignore the comment section on this one. Jags at number 1. I'm not mixing it up too much because Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 overall. I'm fine on that. Best player in the draft, best quarterback. You got to go number 1 of the Jags, quarterback needy team. They can't pass on Trevor Lawrence. Number 2, I've been going Zach Wilson for a while, and I do believe that. But I'm also going to mix it up. I'm going to go with a different quarterback today in the event that the Jets decide to go Justin Fields. Listen, I see this narrative being pushed around that, oh, Justin Fields beat Trevor Lawrence. Did you not see the game? He won. As if this is not a team game. That's how, like, the commenters sound, by the way, obviously. But yeah, that doesn't matter. Football is a team game. The quarterback is the most important position. But as we saw last night, like, if you don't have an offensive line, if you don't have a defense, it doesn't matter how good of a quarterback you are. If your team can't catch, it's not going to go well, and it didn't. But I still think that Justin Fields could be a top 2 quarterback in this class. I have Zach Wilson as a better quarterback prospect, but Fields is pretty close. Fields is really good. Like Fields. Number 3, what have I been doing for the Dolphins? I think I've given them Jamar Chase a few times, Penei Sewell. Let's make a trade happen. Let's get a trade going. And of course, I will say that the trades aren't always the most realistic because I have to make it work under the confines of the Draft Network's trade system. Who would move up to number 3? Well, they'd be moving up for a quarterback, trying to jump the Falcons, who every time I give them a quarterback, I get backlash, and I still don't care. I'm going to do that again, probably. Maybe I won't. Maybe we'll mix it up. But who would be jumping the Dolphins to get to pick 3? Who has draft capital that could move up? Well, the teams that should be moving up, Panthers, 49ers, I'd say, are right up there. I think the 49ers would be in a really prime position to move up for a quarterback. So let's go over to the NFC, hit the 49ers, and what is it going to take? So it's going to be pick number 3. 49ers, of course, would trade 12. I think they would probably have to go into 2022 and trade a first-rounder next year. And the trade offer is already very likely. A lot of times, you'll see teams swap like mid-round picks as well when they do something like this. But I think this is fairly fine. they're moving up a lot. I mean, the 49ers probably would end up having to give up more. Maybe we'll throw in an extra 5th and a 3rd, and we'll make that go through. It's going to take probably a lot to move up, maybe even more than this to move up to number 3 from number 12. But we're not going to worry too much about a magical trade that's happening, trying to predict what team is going to swindle who according to the fans. So we're just going to have the 49ers moved up to number 3. I know it's like, of course, the details of what you're giving up matter. I understand that. I agree with that. However, this is not the point. It's a mock draft. The details of the trade don't matter as much as actually the team moving up. So I'm going to go quarterback here. I'm going Zach Wilson to the 49ers. I think he fits pretty well. The 49ers are basically a quarterback away, in my opinion. They have guys coming back, coming healthy again, and also they have guys that are going to be developing. There's so many studs on this 49ers team. I tweeted out last night that they're probably my pick to win the Super Bowl next year as it stands right now. We'll have to see what happens in the offseason, but the 49ers are a really good team. They are a really, really good team. I think they have great coaching. They have a lot of young talent, and also importantly, they were in the Super Bowl last year. And if not for injuries, they probably would have made it close again. But they're picking at number 12 instead of number 32. Who knows what could happen in 2022 for the draft. But Zach Wilson at 3, dynamic playmaker, fits the 49ers mold pretty well. It'd be a pretty easy adjustment into that system. He's not going to be asked to do a ton. It's just going to be power run and then design shot plays, which I think is a perfect system for a rookie. Look at what Justin Herbert did in LA with the Chargers this past season. Falcons at 4. Now this is a tough spot because 3 quarterbacks just went off the board. Maybe the Falcons aren't particularly high on Trey Lance, so maybe we do go with the best defensive player available. I think they also could end up taking a receiver here, just because you look at Julio getting older. Also, another thing I saw today that I actually quite liked was the Falcons trading back and taking Kyle Pitts. I kind of like that. Depending on what they have, but their defense really needs an upgrade. So what would we give the Falcons at 4? It's a really tough spot. I don't really think any of the edge rushers are good enough to go at this point, and that's typically the defensive position you'd see going this high, or corner. Caleb Farley, I think, has a higher ceiling than Patrick Surtain, so maybe Farley makes sense. But we're going to go Micah Parsons. We're going to go Micah Parsons at number 4. Versatile linebacker. I think he'd be a really, really good scheme fit in Atlanta, playing next to Deion Jones. Play a little strong side linebacker. I think Fuyosade Olakun would be a really good look at the weak side. I think their linebacking core would be great, and you also have a potential rush linebacker as well in Micah Parsons. So versatility is always greatly valued. Micah Parsons, top 5 pick in the draft. Bengals at 5. We're going to go with Penei Sewell, and we're going to go athleticism, trumping maybe the better technical guy at the moment in Rashawn Slater. But Sewell is a really, really good player in terms of his upside. He's a little bit raw right now technically, but look at Tristan Wirfs this past season with Tampa Bay. You get an amazing athlete and you coach them up fundamentally. Well, Tristan Wirfs was like an all-pro caliber tackle this year. Maybe the same thing could happen with Penei Sewell. Eagles at 6. This is a no-brainer. You got 3 of the top receivers still on the board. And let's give Devontae Smith to the Eagles at number 6. Easy separator, Heisman winner, of course, this past season at Alabama. Really, really good route runner and has pretty solid hands as well. Devontae Smith is an animal. Lions at number 7. Now, this is an interesting spot for them because I don't think you go quarterback here. Seems like they're committed to Jared Goff and they like him a lot for whatever reason. The goofballs love the goofball at QB. They would have to be to like him, man. Like, he's just painfully average. And they apparently like him. We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll be great in Detroit. Although, I'm doubting it. We'll have to see, though. You never know. I think a big-time playmaking wide receiver is definitely in play here. Certainly in play. I think that the defense definitely needs to be addressed. But is there a player worth taking at this point when you have these stud receivers on the board? So we're going to go Jamar Chase. Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, free agents. You know, Jared Goff's going to need somebody to throw to, so Jamar Chase is going to be the guy on this occasion. Panthers at number 8. I think I probably look to go quarterback here. I like Trey Lance a lot. I think he has crazy high potential, and the Panthers are in a weird spot right now where they might lose Taylor Moton. Their defense isn't anything special. They have some really, really big playmakers on offense, but the quarterback play of Teddy Bridgewater, like Teddy Bridgewater is not this amazing quarterback, and he's never really going to be more than a top 15 QB in the league, and that's the absolute ceiling. Trey Lance has crazy high potential, and he has a dynamic arm that makes him a super enticing prospect. I definitely could see him going top 10. Broncos at 9, I'm going corner here, and I'm going Caleb Farley. I think he fits the system really well. Not that Patrick Surtain doesn't, but he has a higher athletic ability, which means usually higher potential ceiling as a player. Also, he's technically pretty good as well. I like him a lot. Press man corner, Vic Fangio system, fits really well. It's a match made in heaven. And then we're going to go Patrick Surtain to the Cowboys at number 10. Easy pick as well. I do think offensive line's in play, even though Cowboys fans don't like that. Tyron Smith is a liability. Now, Connor Williams, I was wrong, is not a free agent this year. He's a free agent next year. But Tyron Smith is injured constantly. And if you can get a player like Rashawn Slater at this pick, I don't think it's a bad pick. But cornerback is a monster, massive need as well. So Surtain definitely does make sense. Giants at 11. We all know where I'm going with this one if you've been on the channel for a while. I'm going Jalen Waddle. I think he's unbelievable. He's on the board. It's another match made in heaven. Jalen Waddle is another elite separator with pretty incredible speed. The Giants need a separator on offense, and he is certainly tremendous. Tremendous. Now, Kyle Pitts is someone that's available at 12, and he doesn't fit for the Dolphins per se, but he's so good. I feel like he's going to go higher in the draft. Dolphins at 12 have a difficult decision because if they were to trade down here, who's the best player available at a position of need? It's kind of a tough question. I think they would have to be going Rashawn Slater here. I mean, versatile offensive lineman. I think he could be a future franchise tackle for an organization. And I think the Dolphins have some question marks at that position right now. Robert Hunt at right tackle, wasn't anything special. Austin Jackson at left tackle wasn't anything special, right? But they're decent young players. I think Robert Hunt profiles as a guard. Rashawn Slater has guard/center flexibility because of apparently his arm strength, but also he's so technically refined. You like him at every position on the O-line, but he does have the size to play tackle. He's a very, very good tackle. I think this is another really, really good fit for the Dolphins at 12. And then I'm going to go at 13 with kind of a surprise pick, and that's Kyle Pitts. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a surprise to Chargers fans. We've got an offensive tackle a lot of the time, but when you look at Hunter Henry becoming a free agent and you look at how good Kyle Pitts is in comparison to the rest of the players on the board, Pitts could be a top 5 player in the draft. He's not just a tight end. He's a player that can play tight end, but he's also an outside weapon. Keenan Allen, easy slot fit. He's done so much damage there over the years. Kyle Pitts can be an outside weapon. He is a mismatch against corners because of his size, also really athletic, and he's so refined as a route runner, and he does have such great athleticism that there is not a linebacker that can cover him. You're going to need a really big, athletic, fast, technical safety to cover Kyle Pitts, and those are few and far between. You know who needs to cover Kyle Pitts is Derwin James, and guess what? Derwin James plays on the team that Kyle Pitts was just drafted to, and Kyle Pitts going against Derwin James in practice only going to make him better. So I think this is a really, really good fit. We'll go offensive tackle in the second round. I know you got to protect Justin Herbert, but he's too alluring of a weapon to pass on at number 13, in my opinion. Vikings at 14. We're going to trade down here. And we're going to trade down with maybe a team looking to move up for a quarterback, jumping the Patriots for Mac Jones. I know that's not going to be very enticing for a lot of fans who don't think Mac Jones is very good. I don't think Mac Jones is anything crazy, by the way. But I think a team that values his leadership and potential ability, I think he's got a pretty high floor. He's not a bad quarterback. I just don't think he has top, 10 potential the way that the other quarterbacks do, even if Mac Jones is better right away. So what team would be looking to move ahead of the Patriots who could take Mac Jones at 15? Well, you have Washington football team. You do have the Bears, even though there are talks about Carson Wentz right now. You have the Colts. You have The Steelers even. The Saints maybe, but I don't really think they're in position to move up. So it's really between picks number 19, 20, and 21 for me. Who would be looking to move up for a quarterback out of those three at the highest probability? I would say that the Colts might think they're a quarterback away. So we're going to do Vikings-Colts here. And we're going to trade number 14. Swap first at 21. We're going to add a third this year. We're going to add a third next year. Is this saying that the Colts wouldn't want to do this trade? This really isn't that bad. I don't know. This trade system is kind of annoying for me. The Vikings have so many fourth-round picks. Maybe we'll do a 1, number 14, 2 4s, and let's do 1 4 and a 3. All right. So we're swapping first-round picks and then moving from 84 to 142. I think that's decently fair, and we're gonna go ahead and make that trade happen. Again, the details of the trade are not so important because we don't really know. It's just trying to fit the confines of the Draft Network's trade simulator. Colts at 14. I told you I'm going Mac Jones here. I don't think Mac Jones is all that bad. I just don't think he's amazing. I think he's probably about the same type of player that Daniel Jones was coming out. And granted, it was a much weaker quarterback class, but Daniel Jones went top 10 in the draft at number 6 to the Giants. And as a Giants fan, I had my complaints about that. But Mac Jones, I think, is maybe even a better prospect than Daniel Jones. Both quarterbacks with the last name Jones, not really related. I'm not saying they have the same play style. I'm saying Mac Jones just might be a better quarterback than Jones was coming out. Just doesn't quite have the athleticism that Jones had. But if the Colts think they're a quarterback away, which who's to say that they're not, by the way? The Colts have a really good team. Could use maybe some more playmakers on offense, but they might be a QB away. They've got a really, really solid defense. You can develop some of those guys that you drafted over the past season or two. They might be just a QB away. I keep saying that. Patriots at 15. I'm going to go receiver here. I'm going to go Rashad Bateman. I think he's probably a top 15 player in the draft. I've seen him fall out of the first round. I don't agree with that. I think Rashad Bateman's a really, really good player. Definitely receiver 1 potential in the NFL. I think he's a stud. And the Patriots really need a player like this because I think they try to get it with N'Keal Harry, and he never developed his route runner at all. N'Keal Harry is just not very good. Rashad Bateman is very good, can separate, really, really good player. I think he fits a team like the Patriots extremely well. Cardinals at 16. This is when things get a little bit tougher because their offense is pretty good. Their defense has some playmakers on it, but with Dre Kirkpatrick being a free agent, with Patrick Peterson being a free agent, I almost think you have to overdraft a corner here. Who's the best fit for them? J.C. Horn's press man. I don't know. I feel like I want someone who's complementary to Byron Murphy. And I like Eric Stokes a lot as a player. I could see Eric Stokes being a first-round pick. So I'm going to go Eric Stokes at 16. I think he's really good. I really do. But we'll have to see how that works out in the NFL, of course. Raiders at 17. I'm going to go Kwity Paye. I think he fits the scheme pretty well. He fits the mold of some of the edge rushers they've drafted in the past. Really, really good athlete. Crazy strong. Crazy high-effort player. This is exactly what the Raiders would be looking for coming off the edge. I think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah would also fit. However, he goes the next pick to the Dolphins at 18. Easy cover linebacker to fit into their scheme. Probably going to be their weak side linebacker. I think it's a really, really good fit as well. Washington football team at 19. I'm going with something on offense here. It's going to end up being Christian Darrisaw, franchise left tackle for them. Another really, really easy fit. Keeps him in the area as well. They need a franchise caliber left tackle, and I think Darrisaw fits the bill. In a strong receiver class, you can go receiver in round 2 if you want to do that. Bears at number 20 are thinking the same thing. Sam Cosmi is on the board. I just feel like I want to go with a more power run-oriented tackle. So Jalen Mayfield's a pick I've done before, but I like it a lot, so we're going to double up on that. Vikings, who move back to 21, are going to move back. And we could take interior offensive line here. Elijah Vera Tucker's on the board. I think I am going to do that. Consider defensive tackle there for them, and maybe a Davion Nixon, who I think could be the best defensive tackle in the class. Vera Tucker's really good. Offensive tackle, flexibility as well, which the Vikings need. So that works for me at number 21. Titans at 22. I want to go with an edge rusher here, and I want someone who fits a 3-4. In my opinion, that's Joseph Osai, and that's Azeez Ojulari in this range. I will go Joseph Osai at number 22. Like that fit. Titans have taken some Texas edge rushers before. Now, I know that they didn't draft Brian Orakpo, as he was a Washington football team draft pick in 2010. I love Brian Orakpo at Texas, but Joseph Osai to the Titans. I know they would sign Orakpo in free agency. Not super relevant, but I don't know. Fun, weird comparison of two guys at the same position, out of the same school, ending up playing on the same team. Jets at 23. What do we do here? Cornerback is definitely a big need. And we've seen that defense. And this might just be best player available. We want to go running back here. I think you could go running back in round 2. But I think Najee Harris is so good that maybe you take Najee Harris at 23. He's a big physical back that is almost guaranteed yards when you give him the ball. And he can catch the ball out of the backfield at a super, super high level. Najee is a stud, and I think this is a pretty good pick for the Jets at 23, despite him being a running back, a less valued position all time. Sam Cosmi to the Steelers. They need a tackle. Alejandro Villanueva, free agent. Got to replace him. So Sam Cosmi is the fit. Again, like Villanueva could re-sign. We don't know. And until free agency happens, we really just don't know what's going to happen. Jags at 25. I'd like to go safety here. I'm gonna go Trayvon Merrick. Has over-the-top flexibility, has in-the-box flexibility, just to do it all safety, and a really good player at a position of need for the Jaguars. We have the Browns at 26, and with Olivier Vernon not only tearing his Achilles, but being older, with his contract coming to an end, I think Jalen Phillips is just a natural replacement. Phillips is a really, really good player. He's my edge 1 in the class, but he's going to drop, I think, because of concussion issues in the past. So Phillips is a really good player, and I think a nice Olivier Vernon replacement. Also, same position, same school as Olivier Vernon. Fun fact. Ravens at 27. Do we take a shot at a player like Gregory Rousseau? I think the Ravens are more win now mode. And this is a tough pick. I almost want to give him the center. Like Creed Humphrey. I think I'm going to do it. Creed Humphrey, really, really good player. Solid at the Senior Bowl as well. The Ravens' interior offensive line was just not good. They had a stretch where they were good, but center was always a huge need, and Creed Humphrey's a center that fits them pretty well, in my opinion. Saints at 28. They could go seemingly with any player, but the fit for J.C. Horn, son of Joe Horn, going to his dad's old team, I like it a lot. And they also need cornerback really badly, and J.C. Horn's falling a bit. Perfect fit, in my opinion. I'm also going to go Zaven Collins here. We see how much the Packers like their versatile front 7 guys. Linebacker is a position of need for them, and Zaven Collins falling down the board fits the bill really, really well, in my opinion. Bills at 30. I've seen some running backs go at this spot in the past, like Najee Harris in Zerline and Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock draft. I don't really agree with them taking a running back, though. I really don't. I think they have more pressing needs, and this might be just looking at best player available. Let's go Tevin Jenkins to replace Darrell Williams at right tackle. Chiefs at 31. I'm going to go Gregory Rousseau. I know this is not exactly a team that is in rebuild mode, can develop a guy like Rousseau is a little bit raw, but it's also a really solid potential player falling in the draft to a team that struggled to create any pass rush against the Bucs last night. So Gregory Rousseau is my pick. I also think that Kadarius Toney fits the Bucs extremely well. You're talking about a versatile receiver who can probably come in and play the slot. This is it's not exactly an Antonio Brown replacement, right? But Probably going to lose Antonio Brown in free agency. Well, there's potential for it. He's going to get that money. You know what it is with him. Chris Godwin's a free agent. Do you really want Mike Evans and Scotty Miller as your 2 best receivers? Kadarius Toney moves unlike anyone I've ever seen before, pretty much. He's like Dante Hall levels of human joystick. Toney is a really solid potential player who needs to develop as a receiver with his hands, but not as a route runner. His route running is really, really good. But that's going to do it for this mock draft, guys. Got a little bit more crazy with it. Made a couple trades, not too many, but that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys watching. Hitting that subscribe button helps me out a lot on the path to 300K. That sounds so crazy to say. I appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea. And I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.
It's insane, I hit it at the park, Ben Bones. See me high step to the end zone. My life like a game, Nintendo. Playing with the best, let them know. Get off the track, the train's coming through. Yeah, promise you get in my way, then you best believe I'ma just run over you. Yeah, yeah. Papa turn, taking it back to the house. Defensive joke, I'm laughing so loud. Speed burst good.